Good signal here into central Louisiana this morning. K9's a little less than a group, but he is at 5Q. And good morning, Bruce. You as well have a good signal. So Dan, you got a real strong signal here too. So everybody a happy new year coming. Right around the corner there. I guess what is it? Wednesday maybe? Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. It's sneaking up on us, so it's been a real good year, I hope, for everybody. And that's another one thing that I'm hoping that Mother Nature is going to leave us alone this year. Get our stuff done. She's kind of vicious with us last year. Through 2 tornadoes at us, did quite a bit of damage. I'm still recovering from most of that. Just threw up my hands and told myself that I was not going to get in a hurry getting any of this stuff done. I wasn't in a hurry at first, and I just finally just said the heck with it. It'll be done when it's done. And that's going to be it. No fun of pulling my hair out. That's exactly what I was doing. So I put down the stress level quite a bit. So my shop project, the new shop has turned into from a year project when we first moved in here to almost 4, going on 5 years now. So it's just it'll be done when it's done. I'm itching to start on the big transmitter and the antenna projects and all of that, and it's all just going to have to wait till we get things in a row there. Dan was talking about the doggone exhaust bolts. Probably quit. I got a 1500 Silverado 4-wheel-drive, and the Vortex on a really bad generation. That one with ran at 2000 about half a head bolts on the driver's side. I mean, not head bolts, exhaust bolts. All of that are gone. And when they pump right there, it's plastic block, aluminum head. So not normally them things is in there, and you want to take the manifold off and change that manifold. If you don't change that manifold, they tend to warp. You're going to just pop brand new bolts off again. So you need to change the manifold and then put some heavier duty bolts that they came out with on there. I think it's a little bit more flexible. But the problem is getting the old ones out. And most people the first thing they try to do is drill them and put extractors in them and then run up off the one by that platform. So it's just to weld onto them. Weld a stud onto those things, or weld a gun onto them. That's the best thing you can do is put a nut on a little washer and weld to them. It's aluminum head, so if you hold the right one, you just be attaching it to the stud that's on the inside of that hole, and it won't stick to the aluminum. You'll be able to ease that dude out of there. It's tricky. It's doable. But I've got, what is there, 5 bolts on that thing. I've got 3 of mine that are bolts. It'll only stick when it's really, really cold outside. Which is not my problem here. So during the winter, until I get another one, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. But I've been pushing on for about 3 years now. Not having been able to do that. The leak isn't really bad yet. But once that full-time goes, you know it's going to happen. Get in there and change all the bolts in that manifold. Real bad about doing that. So I can bring it down there. I can do that still and bring it into the shop. But we got a guy everybody, hello. So, I'll go ahead and turn it on around and see if, NKA can hear me. You're going to pray for Bruce, N9KGR. This is WZ5Q, Mike here in central Louisiana.
Good morning, Mike, and the group. This is WA1HLR. It's raining down here. Just a couple seconds. I mean, the 50 wind assessment down here is probably going to be storm. Consequently, the SW line is looking at 9.4 watch it, 31, low power out. So it's only British. Using radios, so range is probably somewhere limited. Mike, you've been good from Central Louisiana. KK4GZQ and KK4GZQ. I'll make this here one my last. I want to say good morning to you, Kevin and Mike, and the last station. About S3 noise level. You're running S4, S5. Not really copy it. And Tim, I wanted to ask you, you have an undercoating process up there in the East Coast with paraffin base, like a wax undercoating. I was just curious what you charge for the vehicle. I was talking to the guy that runs a shop down here. He's usually taking a tire report. We were talking about undercoating. Didn't really hear that paraffin base type of undercoating either. And we talked about the diagnostic tools, the software you have to upgrade for different cars, makes of vehicles. He said he's got a small fortune for that. About a BMW, about a European stuff, and he's all going after diagnostic tools to do updates. Usually it's about $100 to $150 a crack. Every time he has to do it, just pick out a customer's car. And as far as animals up here hitting, we got turkeys. See them alongside the road. They don't look like they're going to behave. You always get that number that flies out of flash at the last moment. You slow down and everything. But I know my Dodge truck, that plastic grill on that is JB welded together, super glued, zip ties and everything else. How many turkeys I hit already when I used to work for a living going to work. With that, I'm going to turn it back to you there, Kevin. And I'm going to listen out. Thanks for the AM fix here this morning. KK4GZQ in the group at 9KGR.
Bruce. Of course, Perry's in there. Good morning, Perry. Where does it go to, did you say, or did anybody say where it goes to from me? I wouldn't send it to Perry. Where does Perry send it to, guys?
Send it up to Tim.
Okay, I'll make mine short here. Good morning, Bruce. Thanks for letting me in. You got a great signal down here. And good morning to Michael. Mike, good morning, Gary, WD4MKA, and you, Tim Tron. And I thought maybe Don being in here. I don't know. K4GZQ. Be good to hear Don. I haven't caught him in a while. Anyway, have a good day, Bruce. I'm not sure what we're doing today. Family and usually when I do that, we don't go to church on Sundays, but we'll have to see. So anyway, I won't hold it here. I'm on the flex this morning. I'm on the flex. What no coffee will do. I was sitting here pressing my foot pedal on the 30S1 over here, and looked up and I thought I was just operating the radio. So, Bruce, obviously you were hearing me. I don't know if Gary down in Florida was. Mike, I just sent you a meme here on Facebook. It's a pretty good one. I found it, and I also sent it to Tim in an email. I thought you would appreciate it. Shows some little weird little animal with a little sad look on his face, and it says that Timtron said I sounded piss weak. Check your messages on Messenger, Mike. Here it comes to you, Perry, and then up to Tim. W3MMR, Best 73, Bruce, KK4GZQ.
Yeah, real good, Kevin. Good morning to you. Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, man, Kevin's a little on the low side this morning. I could hear you without a problem. But then once you flipped on the amplifier, you really obviously came up to about 25 over. Good morning, guys. Just been in here listening for a little while. I've been messing around with this new Behringer B1 here, and while I was listening and trying to EQ it a little bit and just getting moving. A long day yesterday. Went down to the Jersey Shore with my dad and his grandson, my son, and spent the day over there with him and went out to lunch and everything. It ended up being a really good day, and he's coming back over this morning to see my son one more time before he goes back tomorrow. So not too much else going on, just like I said, getting moving here, and everybody's coming in real good. Good morning to you, Mike. Good morning to Gary, and Bruce, and Timmy. Up to you, Tim. WA1HLR from W3MMR.
What? W3MMR. This WA1HLR. Good to get out of here, Perry. I could just about tell Gary was in there, so rather than just sit and listen to and noise, I left the room and put a little Bosser in the microwave oven and warmed it up. You know, with most everybody having a cup of bean and getting all wired up for the day, you know, and I used to do that, but, you know, I didn't crash until about 11:30, and by about 3:30 or 3:45 is when I woke up. That's not enough sleep. And when you have things ahead of you that you have to do, and then a 3.5-hour drive on top of it, you know, you want to try and get some more sleep. So after I get this thing finished up, maybe here in a 20 minutes, half hour, I'm going to head back to bed. And maybe I'll get another 3 or 4 hours in, and then I'm good to go. Yes, working on vehicles. Exhaust work. I haven't done anything like that in a long time. Yeah. Well, the 89 Crown Vic is aside for now. You know, a lot of stuff has been replaced, and it just keeps going. It's got the old, been around for years, 302, so-called 5-liter engine. So, well, here in Maine, as they do in a number of states, you get a set of antique auto plates. Register as an antique auto if it's 25 years old or older, and it's a 30-year-old car, which should easily qualify. Insurance rates are half, and the registration costs are half, and there's a number of restrictions involved. And you don't have to deal with automobile inspection either. You know, you can't be driving around a rolling scrap heap, but we'll see how often I get stopped by the Piggly's with the thing, because its body is in need of repainting and some minor body rot fixed. But one of my ham radio buds in the area is Frank, W1HLR, and he has his own garage. He likes building mini racing vehicles, and he does race. And he's 80 years old, practically. We're all getting old. So he's got a garage that he got together that's very nice, super insulated. Winter time, you get that woodline stove cranking, and I had a lot of maintenance work to do on another vehicle, which had for a while now was a 2003 RAV4. The engine had to be replaced because it was crapped out, and I got the vehicle for very short money. Money was owed to me by a particular radio station that got an advertising trade with a guy who had his own little local garage. It was reputed to be pretty good. Had the vehicle picked up, brought it down, and dropped that off. Ordered up the engine through the internet, and it arrived with 15,600 original miles on it, and guy took quite a while to get it in, but he got it in, did a real good job, never been a problem with it. A 5-speed standard. So, and that one's been on the road for 10 years now. It's in pretty decent condition. The drivetrain is like 200 and some odd thousand miles on it, but as you say, you do the maintenance and it'll just keep going. So I said to do that at Frank's garage. Put the winter studded winter tires on, which are already mounted on another set of rims. Oil change a bit overdue. Aluminum block engine, you gotta change the coolant out every once in a while, and that had to be done. And God, you know, all these things, but we did them all, and it feels good just working on your own vehicle again rather than farming it out and paying a lot more money to have something done that I know I can do. And that's the bottom line. Yeah, as far as the Valiant is concerned, yep, the plate blocking cap, TV doorknob, 500 puff is way too small a value when you look at the circuit impedances. So I find if that capacitor is bumped up at least to 1,000 puff, The Valiant behaves better on 160 especially, and somewhat better on 75. The CDE 1000 plus 5 kV doorknobs work very well. There's a special ordered doorknob that Junkston had made up for them in their Viking 1 or actually Viking 2, which is a 2000 puff doorknob, and I had one of them, and I put that in the Valiant that I have been using for years. And that's been dead for about a year and a half, and I had not been able to get at it with all the stuff in here, but now good little things that were in the way have been removed, and the Valiant's there, and I want to pull it out, put it on a rook table with casters, and roll it out into the room and get to working on it. Because there are a few more things I want to do than just fix the high voltage problem that happened. But, you know, you start in on these things, you go down a rabbit hole that could take a day or so of fairly intensive work, and lately I've had all these other intervening projects that don't allow me to just say, okay, screw everything else, I'm doing this, I'm fixing this, I want to make it work right. And then get into using it, because it's a comfortable power level, about 125 watts out. Good antenna. You can do all right. And for the most part, Dan, you're doing very well. Doing very well indeed with the Valiant. Yeah, the tank circuit padding caps. I had a couple of them, hexagonally molded, probably World War II vintage 400 puff micas that I seriesed up and put them in there. It's just enough. And I'm thinking of replacing it with something with a little bit more capacity. Is when I get down to the bottom of 160 or on 80 meters, I'm just about running out of tank capacity. So, there you go. And that Z5Q, good signal up here. Sounding real good here at the WA1HLR radio station, and Perry and everybody else. I believe Bruce signed out. I didn't catch whether or not he did, but I believe so. Oh, I don't know where it goes. Probably, to you, Dan. KK4GZQ from WA1HLR.
All righty, we'll take it up here, Tim. And working on the cars. Hey, if you're driving and putting gas in, somebody's going to work on it. Kind of like these old Viking banks. If you get it on the air, either you or somebody else is going to work on it. Just to keep them going. And good morning to Kevin just checking in there, and Perry as well. And Kevin, I seen that little meme you're talking about, a little Yoda-looking dude. Put the words on there. Says Tim said my signal was piss weak. Yeah, that's got to be comical. And Jerry, you were talking about, Jerry, a while back you had mentioned to me about that DC blocking cap in the Valiant. And I did go through and remove that 500 puff Sprague capacitor that was there. And I upped mine to, I had a 1200 laying here in the shack, so they got a 1200 20 kV cap put up there. But, I was
I was fixing or trying to fix what was going wrong down in the coupling circuit there. So capacitors kept burning up on me. So I think they're 500 working volt, 330 puffs, somewhere in that neighborhood, stock. So I put some 1,000 working volt series capacitor puffs down there, and I'll be daggone, started getting that plate current run away again, you know. So flipped the radio up on its side, broke out. I got online and found some 330 big ferret doorknob capacitors. Some of the smaller ones that we put in there. I forget whether I got them out of Bulgaria or the Ukraine. I don't remember. But when they showed up, they were still wrapped in the wax paper, you know, so they were never used, you know. So that was pretty good. Stuck those in, and that worked for a while. But after talking to you, those components weren't the problem. The problem was getting that DC voltage down there. So out come the old spring, and that got fixed. And hadn't had any variances in the plate current since I've done that. Well, except for my SWR, but that's a whole different ballgame. You know, one of these days I'd like to put up some 600 ohm twin lead out to an antenna, and then I shouldn't see much, if any at all, variances on the SWR for 600. But you know, I'm running the 450, and I could get the foggy out there if I change SWR a little bit. It would rain does to it, so you know that's going to change things with all that moisture hanging in on the plastic and that. You know, it is what it is. I know what's going on there. And we have spraying conditions up here this morning. And like talking about those exhaust pumps, you know, that was kind of a bad idea what they had done with that. I mean, I'm going to put in you're popping this big chunk of ferrous metal to it on an exhaust pump, and now you got to fasten it together with something, you know. So what are you going to do? You're going to put the ferrous bolts back in there, and now you've got right there at that adjoining seam between the ferrous metal exhaust port and the aluminum head. Well, you've got serious dissimilar metal stuff, and that right there will set up corrosion problems in there. Especially when the motor's sitting still and it's sucking up the humidity from the air and bad things from that. And but that's not the case with your Buick Roadmaster. I mean, it's iron block, iron head, iron exhaust ports. But evidently they loosened up the quality on the bolts, I guess. No, or should I say less tensional load that those things will handle before they break. But I had to get I got it out. Put the cement back strips back there, and it had already backed out a little bit anyway, which was great. So put the vice grips on it, and the trick was I had to rock that thing back and forth to kind of loosen it up a little bit, and then once you go to make a turn to get it loose, well, it would lock again. So I kept doing that back and forth until I got the thread completely out, and finally got it out in one piece. But aluminum, that's a whole different ballgame. Now you've got the aluminum corrosion with the steel and everything else going on there, and it'll lock one in pretty tight. And once you get one of those bolts locked in, yeah, they can be a bear to get out. And one of the guys I'm working with here had the same exact problem with the steel bolts in the aluminum head. It had just broken off its block. not get that thing to turn out or easy out. So what he did was he just went ahead and drilled the bolt out, drilled into it, and drilled the bolt out of it, and put an insert in there. And that was his fix. So you got to do what you got to do. And he did that on the car, so I'm sure that wasn't fun at all. And you guys are talking about those scan tools for looking at vehicles and all that. I looked at the same exact thing down here. I was looking at, getting a hold of one of those scan tools and all that. And I was like, $5,000. There's no way. But the upside is these newer scan tools that you can buy for the vehicle, for reading the codes, code readers and all, has a section in there for live data. And my learning curve on my end was understanding what short-term and long-term fuel trends and what the go-to systems were. So I got a pretty good little education with that. Of course, that being the case, that the fuel injectors I had on this Trailblazer, it was running in a ripped condition. So what does the computer do? It tries to keep the catalytic converter happy and starts trimming back the fuel. And now you're running lean fuel on multiple curves, which jacks up the temperature in it, which can smoke the valves right out of an engine. And, well, it's one of those things, you got to keep on top of that live well. If you get into a situation like that, swap the injectors out if they're the culprit, and at least do it before it smokes the valve out of the engine, But I was going to check that, and that was one of the things that, when I was down here at the local repair shop, they had mentioned nothing about that. So maybe they just assumed that short-term, long-term fuel trims would have looked right over my head, and at the time they probably could have been right, But going in and since then learned how to interpret some of that data, and it does make a difference. Well, anyway, enough there as well. So let's go ahead and send it on back around. Looks like we got Jerry coming up next. GAS and the group from KD4GZQ.
Okay, I saw a little carrot. I didn't hear anything in there. And good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Terry. Also, replication. Good morning to you, Bruce, if you're still listening. And hey, on a quick. Price you go, but you can get yourself a $100 Rhino for Linex, and they're using that bed coating for underneath, and it works real well. I know the Eastwood company there in, New Jersey, they have their own brand, or of course the auto stores have it. I think Duplicolor makes a bed liner, and it's a prep that works real well in doing the quarter panels and exterior anymore. In fact, I've seen whole vehicles. My son and I thought about that, especially Jeeps. They just coat the whole thing, even interior, but that's a bit pricey. But I would just take a garden hose to it and wash it off. But that's the new thing now for coating, for rust proofing, which is quite neat. But and Tim, what is Bosser? On your go around. I don't think I've heard of that. Is that some sort of a, I don't know, feature or something like that? I'm just curious what that is. I don't think I've ever heard that, but that'd be interesting to find out what that is. I can hear you stirring the pot, so I know it's something that you mix in there. And yeah, coffee, I've been so much for so long. I don't know, but it really affects me. It's probably way past it. That's why I'm so messed up anyway. But anyway, I was just curious what that was. I never heard that. And then, all those parameters. Of course, the higher end, you have to get up in those multi-$1,000 tools to read everything. And, the downside is, and like Bruce mentioned on those particular vehicles, especially like BMWs, but most of them, the new cars now, you can't bleed brakes without one because of the computer-controlled biasing system. You can put pressure and try to bleed it all you want, but it's not going to work proper without having the tool to open those valves electronically, because, it's like this new vehicle I got, there's a biasing system to keep things from nosediving. As soon as that kind of like electronic gyroscope reads the front end starts to nosedive up, the thing kicks in immediately and brings the back into play and keeps that vehicle level, and the downside to that is you can't bleed it without some kind of a computer-controlled scan tool that allows that. Airbags, all that stuff is, so you have to have that reset tools, ABS systems. I mean, it's the beauty of having it is that they work well, but the downside is it's not that it's hard to work on, but, you're just going to pull and replace those tools. I mean, we've been learning that for over the years, too, and Mike, you mentioned you think about the shop time and the amount of time. And I've kind of learned, I've balanced myself now. It's okay, how much money do I have to spend on tools to do it myself compared to how many times of the life of the vehicle will I do that as the shop time. And I think we get wiser as we get older. But I had, just like oil changes, Tim, you mentioned that. We did our own, and I had a lift in my son's garage, a 12-foot two-poster. That's like a shop, and man, I'll tell you what, it's hard to get on the ground anymore, but he's changing his arrangement, so he sold that to a brother of his, and I did my front brakes out here in my driveway just about 3 weeks ago, and man, I'll tell you what, my body is telling me I don't want to do that anymore. But, even oil changes, it's like I think it's so picky about bringing oil in, even these shops, so, or, auto parts store, they want your address and all that stuff, but, so I just pay. I don't want to mess with it. It's just a mess anyway, but, boy, I've got my 609 and 608. If you guys aren't familiar with that, you can't. It's going to come to a point you're not going to go to the store and buy that 12-ounce can of Freon anymore because they're trying to regulate that heavily. And if you don't have that certificate, then you're not going to be able to buy it. So, boy, it's like it's all bureaucracy. It's who has the most influence on the government to make them regulations and trying to take this away from the car owners. And I think California, they passed a rule that you can't oil change outside of your garage. And I heard about that from a relative, and I thought, holy cow. So of course that's California, but, that's going to be trying to be pushed across the nation. And we don't have inspections here yet. I'm surprised Indiana doesn't. Oklahoma had the tailpipe inspection for the emissions, and which made it very tough if you wanted to get tested for cost and stuff. Pretty much you don't. But here we don't have that yet. So kind of free game here so far. But I'm sure that's going to get pushed to be changed. So. Anyway, Mike, I think I was sending it to you, and I think I'm going to go make me something here and step out for a little bit. When it gets back to you, Tim, or key up real quick, tell me what Bob has any term for me. So, WZ5Q, Mike, here she comes, drag your feet. Maybe Tim will tell me what kind of drink he's slipping down his throat there. This is kind of ingenious.
Yeah, well, Wasser is bastardized German for water. A friend of mine came up with that many years ago. And there's the song. Cool, clear, Wasser, Wasser, Wasser. Well, basically, it's just, a mug, a triple filtered Henry LR Mountain Springs Wasser. Put in the mug, stuck in the microwave oven, zapped for about almost 3 minutes to where it gets up to a high temperature. And I don't know if you're familiar with nutritional yeast. You buy it at natural food stores. It's great seasoning for popcorn. And, 3 or so heaping teaspoons of that in, stir it up, and you keep stirring up, and it's a very satisfying taste. And nutritional yeast is loaded with B vitamins and all kinds of good things. It doesn't keep me up. Yep. And with bean, years ago when I was in my 30s, I'd put a whole pot on every morning and be sucking it down through the day. And typically I'll brew up a big ass cup in the morning of high octane bean and have that, and then in the middle of the day I might have another one. Anyway, that's the story. Go ahead, Mike. This is WA1HLR.
Oh man, WA1HLR and the group WZQ. Good morning to Kevin and also to Perry. Y'all both had pretty good signals here. And Tim, you were just, man, the signals got great on that last transmission of yours. It's just, I'm doing weird conditions are fine on here. I'm on a little homebrew this morning. Usually I'm a little 809 plate modulated by screen driven triode connected 6AV5s. Being amplified to legal limits for a homebrew link coupled tuner. Up from open wire line to 160 meter limits. Up about 50-60 feet or so. I'm listening to everybody on a Hallicrafters R274 military receiver. My AM receiver of choice. I like that thing. But it just sounds wondrous. Oh man, Well, Dan, I don't think the corrosion is the problem with that particular LS motor. I think it had to do originally with the alloy that they use in that bolt and the expansion difference between the aluminum head and the ferrous manifolds. The expansion rates were too far different. It caused too much bolt stretch and bolt, which would have caused the failure of the bolts. They came out with 2 or 3 different versions and part numbers of that bolt. What most people do is just go down and get a grade 8 bolt and stick in there, and they don't have no problems with it. If they could get the old one out. But part of the deal, as well as they use a sealant inside whenever they put the bolts in, so that kind of helps as far as any dissimilar corrosion or anything like that. That's not the main problem. The alloy that they use, so far the new part numbers that they came out with seems to help a lot. But you have to do manifolds because the manifolds already work. And if you don't do that, it doesn't seal right and you still get movement. So it's not perfectly flat. You gotta grind that thing flat, perfectly clean it flat, or get a new one. It's usually cheaper to get a new one. So that's So you are on that. Drilling and tapping and all of that, boy, I'll tell you, there's usually not that much room in there unless you have some type of an apparatus to put on there to guide your hole to get that perfectly centered on that bolt. A lot of times, you know, you gotta put what they call a steamboat on there to be able to put a drill guide to be able to correctly get that hose. Then you won't have a problem. Usually you can use a left-handed drill bit, and that thing will come out of there by the time you get up to the right side. Drill to pull it easy out or to get it to where you can actually run a tap to that thing. But you run the risk of breaking those tools off inside that dude, and then you're really screwed. So actually the best thing, and not to mention you got that sealant in there. So what that welding does, you put a nut on it, and you fill up that hole with weld, and block that's inside that aluminum block to that nut. Well, that weld won't stick to the aluminum, but it will to the stud that's standing there. Well, the heat from the welding operation breaks that seal, that sealant down, where that stuff will come out of there pretty easy if you get a good weld. And that's actually the preferred way to do it, especially with that limited area. And a lot of times, if you broke off way down inside that one, you can build that thing up. Before you stick it in there. It's an art, though. You know, of course, you have to have some welding skill. But there is a tight area there, and what you're talking about, I believe, is a helicoil. We do a lot of that in the aircraft industry. If you yank up the whole time the helicoil's out, you can always oversize it and put a helicoil in it, and that'll bring it back down to nominal thread size. Most things are pretty slick as well. I've used a lot of those, so they work out pretty good. There's ways around it. It all depends on how much time you got and how much you really want to deal with that. You know, you start thinking about all of that and how much you work out for you. $500 really doesn't sound all that bad. Just go drop it off and then come pick it up a day or two later and it's all fixed. You ain't got to worry about it. Sometimes you got, your loafers are a little lighter for about $100. You have to transfer there. That's for sure. Yeah, but I'm getting to be where it's not too much of a problem these days. I can't get on the ground like that anymore either. And I don't have a lift. I don't have a lift. So I'm sure that was making it a lot nicer. Okay, I need to save up my coinage, because I know the day is coming that I'm going to have to get that taken care of. Hopefully they won't buy something around. There you go. Oh, bean juice. I tell you what, I like my coffee. And, I'm kind of a coffee connoisseur. I like all different kinds of coffee. My favorite coffee is you can't buy it here in the United States. I worked for a company that was owned by the French called Aeroframe Services, and what they were was they were the only repair station here in the United States for Airbus, and so all the Frenchies were here as well. And my boss, when he came back, he'd go to France and come back. When he'd come back, he'd bring this Brazilian coffee. You could get it in France, but they wouldn't sell it here. And that was the best coffee I ever drank in my entire life. So whenever he'd go there, he'd bring me back some of that coffee. Well, that long over and gone and retired from that, so I don't get my Brazilian coffee anymore. But I'll tell you what, I do order online from these different companies, and one of the ones that I've been ordering from is called Black Coffee Company. And what intrigued me about it was, it's veteran-owned and veteran-operated. And this Christmas, Black wanted something different. Christmas money coffee, so ordered a couple ground mugs of coffee from them, and to support my chickens there. And no, I thought the ground was full of coffee. I was impressed with it. They did a really good job. I got some black roasted coffee and some regular roasted coffee, and boy, the flavor of that stuff is just incredibly good. And boy, it would supercharge it now. And it's that high octane. Let me tell you something. That BB, that black purple is that will supercharge you. Man, that's good stuff, I tell you. But anyway, we tried that this year. In fact, I need to go fill up my cup here very shortly. All right, that's about it. Let's see, I was giving it to Gary, and Gary was giving it to Bruce, I believe. Or no, Kevin, I wanted to make a comment about that little thing. Yeah, I made a special trip up to the computer and looked that up and looked at that round-looking thing there. With his real pathetic face, said that he was piss weak. I said he was piss weak. Well, you don't want sunshine to tell you you're piss weak, that's for sure. I know I don't want to be piss weak. How about you, Gary? That's all I ask you.
Life's too short to be piss weak.
Okay, Gary, I think I was just giving Bruce a chance to come back if he was in there. I think he pretty much signed on the last one. I think Jerry's going to be back. K9 GAS. I think he said he had needed to go get some coffee. Anyway, WD4NKA with the group KK4GZQ. And Gary, I'm wondering if you ever followed up with Kilo Golf 5 Lima Romeo Sierra KG5LRS. Jerry there that had mentioned about an SB220. Wonder if you guys ever got together on that. Anyway, real good. Hopefully, maybe y'all made contact, or maybe something good will come out of it. Who knows? Anyway, I won't keep it here long, guys. Tim talking about the yeast, the nutritional yeast. That's a new one on me. Seems like I may have seen something like that before, Tim. Kind of, maybe, I'm thinking a granular tan in color, maybe I've seen people use, maybe, somewhere down the line. 58 degrees here currently. We're looking for 64 today and rain. And then we've got temperatures in our 40s and 50s with rain on and off through the week. I did know what wasser was whenever it was mentioned. And when it was turned back to Tim, I already knew the answer. That's a first for me. And believe it or not, where I learned the word wasser is from an old comic strip called Sergeant Rock. I don't know if you guys remember it. I think it was Sergeant Rock or Sergeant Slaughter. I think it was Rock. Well, it was, had a German soldier laying out there wounded, asking for water, and what he was doing, it was a decoy to try to decoy the American soldiers in, etc. Is what way I remember the comic, but he kept begging for water. It's amazing where you pick up these things, right? Run the Flexus one, the 30S1 Collins here at about 250 watts of care. And I had the 30S1 set back here in the back room for about 9 months to maybe even, it could have been a year before I ever fired it up. And it bucked and broke the step-start system that's in this for the warm-up of the tube. And also the operating off that same sensor is there's a heat sensor on the tube here that'll shut down if you're overdriving or overheating the tube. And it was just kicking in and out all the time, and I thought maybe I wasn't going to be able to get it back running, but I just got in there and cleaned some around the relay and some of the controls in there, and adjusted a little bit here on the sensor up at the tube, and it hasn't looked back or hiccuped ever since. It just needed some run time. Man, you can't just leave equipment back there on the shelf just sitting there forever. You'd expect it to turn on and run, especially stuff that was probably built, what, 30S1, I'm guessing maybe maybe the mid-60s, early 60s maybe? I'd have to look that up. Anyway, and then you guys talking about the mechanical work, and I'm sitting there shaking my head going, no way, I'm not into none of that. I'll just go pay somebody and do it, even though I'm pretty mechanically, I got some mechanical aptitude. Having the right the right tools and the skill level has to do with natural ability, but it also has to do with how many times you've been in there and done that particular task. And if you're not well rehearsed at something, especially something that's on the higher end, I wouldn't suggest it. Cause more problems than what it's worth. But and I've done a lot of drill out, retapping, and whatnot. Once again, right tools, and you got to have the know-how to be able to get it to do right. I did a lot of that when I was working in the ozone business, building the ozone generators for laundry. We had to retap a lot of darn things with our builds. A lot of broken off bolts and so forth. Okay, on the coffee, the French from Airbus that a fella brought over, the Brazilian coffee. I bet that was great. Talked about the Black Rifle Coffee Company. And then, of course, Tim said life's too short to be piss weak. With that one, here it comes over, let's see. He went to Perry, W3MMR, KK4GZQ, the group.
W9JMK, good morning.
Little W9JMK checking in there. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me, I think I heard George in there too. WB2HJK. Alright, I've been over here messing around in the shack. I haven't really been paying attention. I'm over here messing with this little $40 magnetic loop, receiving loop I got from eBay, and it comes with these little crappy SMA connectors for the biasing tee, and I was over here soldering BNCs on there, female BNCs, you know, because I don't have any SMA connectors, so making it a little more user-friendly than these little crappy SMAs. But anyway, everybody's still coming in good. Yeah, Timmy, life's too short to be piss weak. That's for sure. I was piss weak when about a year and a half ago, but I worked my way up to not being piss weak. At least I hope. At least that's what people are telling me, that I'm not piss weak anymore. But you guys just might be, you know, might be being nice to me. But either way, I'm glad you guys are being nice. Oh boy, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about working on cars. Well, I've been an automotive technician now professionally for going on 19 years. This will be my 19th year here, and working in the Rust Belt up here, as we call it, sucks. Exhaust work sucks. I'm an exhaust tech. I do custom exhaust and, you know, all your pipe bending and mufflers and flex pipes and mid pipes and catalytic converters and exhaust manifolds, and trying to get an exhaust manifold off without breaking any studs on any vehicle that's older than 5 years old, that's been living up here its entire life, is a real headache. Doing engine jobs with you know, used motors that the customer decides they want to get from the salvage yard, 9 times out of 10 you have to swap a lot of parts over, and all those parts are rusted. The exhaust manifolds are always in terrible shape, so you're always doing a lot of drilling, going through a lot of drill bits, using the acetylene torch a lot to heat things up, to help out, bust the rust loose. And I've been a master technician for the past 11 years, and state inspector, so on and so forth. I don't do as much of the crap work as I used to. Now I do a lot more of drivability diagnostics, electrical diagnosis, computers, check engine lights, things of that nature. But when needed, I still do a lot of the crap work, like the exhaust work, and I do most of the big jobs, engine swaps and transmissions and things like that. But you gotta be a certain breed to do work like that, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. It took a lot of getting used to, a lot of frustration, a lot of, you know, telling myself that it'll be worth it once I get off the bottom of the totem pole and start making some real money in this business. And I'm glad I stuck it out, because you can make a good living at this. And once you get out of the trenches, you know, you don't work quite as hard. Your life's a lot easier. Excuse me. And you start enjoying your work more, rather than dreading going in every day, and dreading what you got to work on. So now I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the diagnostic side of it, and you know, using my brain and using the scan tool. And you guys are talking about scanners and our Snap-on scanner, our Snap-on Modus, with all the updates. Each update each year, to get the next model year, costs about $800 to $900 each year, just for the update. And the whole scanner package, with domestic, German, and Asian vehicles, was about $9 grand for our scanner with everything. And our scanner has a built-in oscilloscope in it, has a built-in multimeter. Obviously, you know, it has the capability of reading diagnostic trouble codes, but The live data that you can look at is second to none. The Snap-on troubleshooter, where you can go in and get code descriptions, and it can kind of point you, in a direction for a particular code. It gives you all the specifications. It gives you flow charts, diagnostic flow charts, test procedures, so on and so forth. So that scan tool is, it is worth its weight in gold. That's for sure, and it's something that you can't live without, or working on cars nowadays. Anything after 1995, when they switched to OBD2, they really made it to where you can't really diagnose drivability issues, that have to do with engine, transmission. 95% of the time, you can't diagnose it without a scan tool. So, after working, in this business for a while, you have ideas of what things could be. You plug in the scanner, oh, it's got this code and this vehicle, and you rack your brain, and you can figure out, oh, it's probably this. But, that scan, like I said, the scan tool is worth its weight in gold. And I enjoy it. It's keeps you busy. You're constantly learning. Constantly re-educating yourself every single year with all this new technology that's coming out. My work is constantly sending us to classes in the evenings after work, always new certifications, different types of certifications for different manufacturers, and to really make the money in this business, and to be at the top of your game, and to be a desirable technician to a lot of these companies, you have to have all those certifications. You got to keep yourself up on it, because the days of being a grease monkey and knowing how to tune a carburetor and change oil, change brakes, change gears, things like that. It's not the way the business is anymore. You got to be a computer diagnostic technician, an electronics technician on top of being a grease monkey to really succeed in this business and be good at it. So it's fun. It's rewarding, it's challenging, but the one thing that sucks is the fact that there's no the high school shop classes are going away. I'm on the occupational advisory committee for the local high school here, and help out with their automotive program down there once a month. And help out and go down and talk to the kids and give advice on their equipment and what equipment they may need and different curriculum. I can't even say it, it's too early. Curriculum, you get it, and different things that they're going to teach these kids, and give my advice on it, so on and so forth. But there's really not many young kids coming into the business anymore, and that's really with any trade. Everybody wants to go to college and get an education and sit in a cubicle. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can go out and make six figures, being an automotive technician, being a steam fitter, pipe fitter, a welder, and a host of other trades. You can make a really, really good living at this stuff and not have all those, student loans and be in debt from going to college. You can get right out of high school and go right into the workforce and get a good job, and a very successful and rewarding job with a lot of room for advancement. Pension, retirement, 401k, benefits, the whole nine. They're offering all this stuff, and really making it appealing and putting all these incentives out there, to try to get kids into the business, and younger folks into it. But a lot of them, they just don't want to do it anymore. They want to play video games and go to college and party and then get out and sit in an office. And once they get a lot of times, once they get a college degree, they don't even use it. They end up going into the trades anyway, because the thing they went to school for is just way overpopulated. So anyway, sorry about that, old buzzard. I'll keep it moving along here. Back up to you, Timmy. And Timmy, we don't have time to be piss weak. W3MMR.
But the guy is okay.
Well, this is going to be it for me. Very good conversation. I thought I heard George and a couple of others. But I'm beginning to feel like I need to head back to bed. You know, if I can get at least a couple hours in, I'll be doing all right. Geez, I'm not going to make very many comments because that would mean an old buzzard transmission, and there's quite a few people in here that, you know, that's pretty interesting about, yes, the automotive technician. Yes, the word you're searching for is curriculum. You know, as far as the younger generation not being interested in, you know, just working with your hands and doing as much stuff as you can on your own without having to pay somebody to do it. That's where I've always come from, is the pride of working on your own vehicle, do your own electrical work, your own plumbing, your own construction. You come up with your own ideas that are a departure from what is considered standard practice, that you find works better, may make a sturdier structure, may be easier to pull it apart when you have to make a change, you know, that kind of thing. You know, I do my own heating, I have been deferring to a couple of other people here and there for various things that I just don't really feel like doing. Yeah, I was going to say, aluminum blocked engines, aluminum heads, cast iron exhaust manifolds. Well, that's why God invented tubular headers, but I want to pay in the scrote. Yep. You get better performance, and I'd have to tell you that. The headers could be designed for better exhaust flow than a manifold. I don't know why they have not advanced to headers. Maybe it's too much money. You make things more efficient. But, you know, the electric cars around the corner more and more, they're putting in electric vehicle charging stations. I think Tesla is putting up the money for that. You know, I've always been fascinated in electric vehicles, but that's a whole other story. Very interesting on the Bane. Gary, I could hear you in there. You are piss weak up here. However, the last time you were in there and I couldn't hear you, I was playing around with antennas, and I have this sloping end-fed wires, I'll call it. It's a full wavelength of wire, essentially, on this band where one end's up at 180 feet, the other end is up maybe 40 feet, hung up in the trees, and then there's an additional length of drop wire coming down, and that goes to the tuner, and it runs essentially from north to south. So the full wavelength antenna, and it's patterned. It seems to be responding to very, very low incoming angles. I snap over to it, and the signal-to-noise ratio on your signal, Gary, improves markedly to where your Q5. I switch over to the antenna I'm transmitting with, being the wire array, just about head for the noise. And oddly enough, I heard some slap bucket stations, and they're almost as strongly as you, that seem to come out of nowhere, and when I switch back to the wire array, I can tell you're in there, and the slap bucketeers just completely disappear. So that's an interesting observation. One thing I gotta do is a lot of stuff in my station, including at the operating position, have a means of switching between a number of different receiving antenna situations, rather than just the one antenna that's being used for transmitting being used for receiving. I can do that with this setup, using my 160 dipole for receiving, but I got to expand upon it. So, that's a story, yep. A lift is a very nice thing to have. I've had a couple opportunities to work on my vehicle. The 89 Crown Vic needed an exhaust system badly, and it was a single exhaust, and I went out and bought all the components. To put a wood set of duals on mufflers, the tailpipe, the hangers. One of the guys, Bruce W1HLR, has had a business, he probably still has it, that basically services high-end yuppie vehicles like Volvos and BMWs and Mercedes and on and on and on. People that live along the coast of Maine that have money. And as far as tailpipe emissions and all that, for a while somebody got the harebrained idea that, well, here in the state of Maine we should start going after auto emissions. Well, Maine doesn't have that much of a population. In the summertime, there's a lot of touristas that come in, and of course there is no control over that. So the state spent a lot of money and put up, like a garage, big building with all these bays to process vehicles. So they decided that, well, we'll put a dividing line in the state, and those in the southern half will have to succumb to emissions testing, and the northern half, don't worry about it because there's not that great a population. Boy, people pissed and moaned and pissed and moaned and pissed and moaned, and the building was built, the money was spent, and then it was voted down and forced out. So this building languished for quite a while, and Bruce UJR put up the money and bought it, turned that into his garage, and it's ideal for what he was doing. And I got the use of one of his bays and a lift, and drove down on a Sunday, and with the right tools and all that, took me about an hour and a half to completely replace the exhaust system from the catalytic converters out to the tailpipe. And that exhaust system lasted a good 6 or 7 years before it had to be replaced. Well, like I said, I had to take the 1989 off the road for now, but a buddy of mine, Mr. Mike W1RC, for quite a while, he spent some time living in Vermont, and every few months, the state of Vermont would have a vehicle auction. Mr. Mike would go there and he'd start buying various, Crown Vic pig lease cruisers. He'd find the ones that appeared to have the best possibilities, cleanest, lowest miles, and all that. He'd buy a couple of them, and then he'd drive one, and the other one he'd clean it up and sell it for good money. He's been living in the state of Massachusetts for quite a while, so a vehicle like that that's clean goes for several times what was paid. Well, a couple of years ago, Mr. Mike set something up where he got one for me, and the last year they were made was 2011, so I've got a 2011 Crown Vic Police Interceptor that's painted green. It had less than 100,000 miles on it. Engine very smooth running, and that's what I've done on the road now. And as far as using motor oil and all that, I'd always save it. You know, if I'm starting a brush fire, you know, clean up, you know, it's a great accelerant. Just throw a little on there, you know, and it'll get things going. I used to use it in the woodline stove to get things going. It's good for certain situations of treating wood, you know, to keep it from rotting away in outdoor applications. Same score. I come up with what I called car dung, which is a mixture of used motor oil and roofing tar. You know, stir it up into a thick pea soup consistency, and you put that in a paint gun with a busted nozzle that has a larger orifice, and you just put the car up on blocks and spray it under. Oh, it's a filthy job, but once car dung is in, rust is out, because it doesn't become brittle and flake off like Rusty Jones or Z-Bart. So, you know, then I got down to, you know, mixing it up and all that. It was such a pain. So I would just dump it in the gun every November. I'd put the car up on blocks just about and spray it down. That kept the salt monster at bay. But the garage services I use has been providing undercoating service, and I think one of the brand names is Fluid Film, but it's an ecologically safe, definitely better than old used motor oil, heavy wax-like undercoating. So every November I get all my vehicles treated for $150 a crack. And pretty well stops the salt monster dead in its tracks. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. We'll see you guys later. I got to get to bed. I'm just going to listen out. It'll be up for somebody else to figure it out where it goes. And by the way, Kevin, that combo, I believe you're using a Flex driving the 30S1 sounds very good. I think it's the best sounding signal I've heard out of your station. So there you go. And I'm just going to listen out. This WA1HLR.
Yeah, go inside me out and see you guys. We'll catch you dudes later. Looks like the Florida AM dudes are coming up next, I do believe. Good morning, Doc. KD4GZQ. Take it easy over there, Dan.
Yeah, take care, Dan. W3MMR.
Yeah, we'll see you later, Dan. I did hear George in there, so I don't know if anybody's hearing George, but I gotta go. The bed beckons me. This WA1HLR.
Hello and goodbye from K1 Big Yellow Dog.